Today we're talking all about palettes, one of my favorite makeup items. I love eyeshadow, I love sparkly things, and I'm excited to share with you my top 10 palettes of 2023. I did this video last year and I thought I would do it again this year. I have a huge collection, I have a ton of palettes, but I really feel like these are the 10 palettes that really defined my 2023. A lot of them are palettes that came out this year, but some of them are just palettes that I got a lot of use out of and are just a personal like 2023 top. So I would love to know your top palettes in the comments down below. And I also did do this eye look at the end, so there will be a little bit of a demo there if you're interested. But with all of that, let's just get into it. These are not ranked, okay? I couldn't do it. I couldn't rank them. We're just going through however I feel. These are just a top 10 in general. All right, first palette here. This one was a really easy pick for me, the Lancome and Louvre palette. This was a holiday palette, but it came out pretty early, so I've had it for a while, and it is just beautiful. Simple, easy, yes. I've been very into those looks this year, but I can't deny the amount of use I've gotten out of this palette. It really felt worth it to me. Initially, I was drawn to this palette because it's so beautiful looking. I really love the inspiration and the collaboration here. I love the attention to detail with the powders and how they're pressed. They make up like a face. They're really cool. And I also like that these were baked powders. They looked like they were going to be really beautiful and soft, have a delicateness to them, and I was really attracted to that. And I'm happy to say it was exactly everything I thought it would be. A lot of these colors can look a little bit similar on the eyes, but I just love them. You can also use this on the face. It has a fun sparkly green to it as well. Like I said, this year I've really gravitated to simple looks. I know you wouldn't guess it from my look today. I decided to go a little bit more sultry and smoky, but I would say for every day, this palette delivers exactly what I'm looking for. So I love this. It was expensive, $89. Definitely not cheap, but I feel like it was worth it. I'm super happy with it, and I love how versatile it is for my face or for my eyes. I usually use it together, and I just always feel so beautiful, so pretty, put together, confident when I wear this palette, which has been a really big trend for me this year. I've definitely been doing my makeup more for feeling confident, and this palette definitely makes me feel like that. Next, let's talk about an oldie but a goodie. This just kept making its way into my life this year. I don't know, I would just like bust it back out, and I just love the Roen quads. You guys know, I believe last year I had Gold Lust in my favorites, but this year I decided to do Eyes on Me, which is the kind of rusty orange quad, which is just so beautiful. I honestly could have picked any of the Roen quads, but like I said, this one just kept bringing me back, and every time I do a look with it, it is stunning. Every time I do a look with it, I just feel beautiful. I feel like glamorous and done up, but in the most like natural way. As in, I don't feel like I'm wearing like a costume or a mask or like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes makeup, when you put a full face on or you do a bold look, it can feel a little bit foreign, but this is like glammed up for sure whenever I do something because I can't stop. But it still feels like me, and I love that. In here there are two cream shadows, which both of those are beautiful. The creams in here do not lock down, so they don't like set in place, but even with that I feel like it just looks kind of worn in throughout the night, which I don't mind. Then there's a powder matte shadow in here, which I think is perfect for like the outer corner for me. And then there's like a flaky duochrome golden pink kind of shadow that I love topping over the cream. So absolutely love this. I can do like one shadow looks if I really want to, but I also can use everything in here, and I just love it. So that is one of my top palettes of the year. We all knew this next palette was coming because damn, I just fell hard for this. I love this. The Natasha Denona I Need a Nude. Please, this one I love traveling with. When I went to Vegas recently, I packed this, but then I just took out a few shades and brought some from the Xenon palette, the midi, and it was perfect. I love that you can take these shadows out. If you didn't know that, you can just pop them out. If you have other midi palettes, you can create your own custom palettes, which I think is awesome. Anyway, this is like the perfect color story for me for everyday looks. I can do something very daytime. I can go smoky into nighttime. It has the shimmers, it has the sparkles. It's truly a dream neutral palette for me, and I'm obsessed with it. I can't put it down. I've gifted this to friends this year. I just love it. I love it, love it, love it so much. Highly suggest if you feel like these colors are gonna work for you, if you feel like these colors are things you wear every day. I feel like the formula's so nice. I really love what she's doing with the shimmers, these really sparkly textured ones. I'm so glad they're kind of like updated, very current. It makes me so happy, and I'm obsessed with this. So highly suggest this. I've talked about it a lot. I do have a coupon code with Natasha Denona, so it's LMB15. It saves you 15% off, and that code is valid all the time. So whenever you're ready to pick this up, if you want to save a little money, you can use that. It is affiliated, so if you use it, thank you so much. But I have a whole video dedicated to this. I go into detail. I swatch it, I compare it to things, so definitely check that out. But I love this, like, love, love, love. Top palette. Earlier in the year, a palette I could not stop raving about was from Bobbi Brown. And this is the Lunar New Year quad that came out. It just says Luxe Eyeshadow Quad on the back. And the shades that are in here, there's Moonstone, Sunflare, Citrine, and Metal Rose. And this thing is just absolutely stunning. This started my obsession, I feel like, with Bobbi Brown this year. Like, I don't know why I was sleeping. I don't know why I was sleeping on Bobbi Brown products, but let me tell you, my eyes are peeled. My radar is up. I love checking out what Bobbi Brown's releasing, especially when it comes to eyeshadows, and specifically when it comes to these quads like this where they're taking single shadows and maybe a few limited edition shades, but the single shadows that are in the permanent line, and they're putting them in palettes. It's a great time to buy because they are a lot more affordable. Moonstone by itself I think is like a $40 single shadow, and I want to say this was like in the 50s, maybe $60, but I think it was somewhere in the 50s even. So such an amazing value, but the actual shadows are so good. If you want texture, you want flaky, you want shiny, I mean, these deliver. And then you do get one kind of satin in here, which is this beautiful taupey, purpley, satiny shade. Just stunning. Like, I wore this for my birthday this year. Absolutely love it. And I'm sure something similar will come out in time. So if you're interested, keep your eyes peeled. I don't know if this palette's available anymore, but you can also, if you just want to buy a little single, a little potted treasure, if you will, I do suggest those. I will definitely be doing a favorites of the year when it comes to makeup, and I won't be including palettes in it because they're in this video, but I will be talking about single shadows and other eyeshadow type products in there, so be on the lookout. I don't really know why I was going off on that tangent, but in general, any of the palettes from Bobbi Brown can be a really great value. I will say, if you're a big collector, make sure you're checking the names. They like to re-promote shades, so don't move too fast. If things look really pretty and you already have a few palettes, you might want to double check and make sure you're not going to get any duplicates, just so you're not wasting your money. But an absolute love, like, love this. And that brings me to the other Bobbi Brown palette that I put in here. Now, to say this is a palette is a bit of a stretch. I get that. It is a duo, but it's not a single shadow, so I decided to put it in here. They came out actually with 3 of these colorways. I thought it was only 2, but then I saw a third one pop up. I think it was maybe just on some UK sites, but I specifically put in the duo that has Supernova and Frosted in it, although I really do like the other one that had like a chocolate brown. It was hard to pick. I almost put both of them in here and just kind of counted them as one palette, but I thought I would stick to the rules. Again, we have some baked shadows in here, a nice little duo, so easy to use. And this pink specifically, it looks like just a beautiful light ballerina pink, but it has something just spectacular to it. There's something about the shimmer in here that just picks up a little bit more color than that. It's not quite a confetti shade, which is like rainbow sparkles in it, but almost, like almost. It's just beautiful. I love it. Such an easy everyday look for me. A lot of times though, I will pair this with the other duo. It's just like an easy look if I want to go a little bit darker, but again, for every day, this is such a simple look, but I feel so put together, so beautiful. I just love it. I love the packaging. I love the feeling. I love everything about it. Well, we're already halfway there. Can you guys believe it? I feel like that was so freaking fast. But next, I want to talk about some color. I am definitely in my neutral era at the moment, but I do still love color. And I have a few palettes that really prove that to me this year, that I'm not done with color, that I still do like color, just maybe in a little bit of a different way. Maybe I'm inspired by it a little bit differently. And this one was a shocker, the Isamaya Industrial 2.0 palette. I was going back and forth on if I wanted to pick this up. I kept being like, do you guys think I should? Is it good? I kept hearing good things about it. And so I finally bit the bullet. It was my first purchase from the brand. And this palette, you guys, first off, it's all shimmer. So you know I'm already there. I'm already so excited. Don't get me wrong, mattes can be so useful in building out looks, but I just feel like when I think of my collection, what gets me excited, what I want to, like, you know, put my fingers in, put on my eyes, really dive into our shimmer shades, sparkly shades, that type of stuff, duochromes, all of that good stuff, you know what I mean? And this one delivers. Although these are all shimmers, there's still different finishes within here. Some of them have like no base and they're like a wet shine. Some of them are a little bit more like a satin and have like a glow to them. There's some flips in here, some duochromes, lots of sparkles. I loved that about it. And I just feel so inspired when I see this palette. I felt like online maybe it looked a little bit, I don't know, disjointed. I mean, it's kind of a rainbow, but it's not like a traditional rainbow. There's something a little bit grungy, a little bit different to it, but I really feel like those tiny tonal changes in this palette, I feel like make it more wearable every day, make it a little bit more editorial, but again, still grounded in something a little bit neutral, a little bit more wearable, if you will. I just love it. I highly suggest it. If you were looking into this palette, I really feel like this is a high-end version of color in my eyes. Like, I just feel like it gives me those fun pops of color, but I still feel like it's elevated in a way, and I'm obsessed. So I love this. It made me pick up the other palettes, so I bought those during Black Friday. I'm still testing them out, and I do like them so far, but this one's definitely the winner out of all of them. Like, this one is stunning, and if it was already on your radar, I know it is expensive, I do think it's one to check out. The other like full color palette, and this one slipped in at the end, I almost didn't buy this, and then I saw it in store and it just stole my heart, and this one's from Danessa Myricks. This is the holiday palette, the Lightwork palette, volume 5. I haven't picked up any of the other Lightwork palettes, so I don't know how this one compares in terms of color story, but I just think this one's so stunning. There are so many beautiful duochromes, like flaky shades, texture shades, so much going on in here, and I really love this. Feels like artistry. This feels inspired. This makes me want to do fun looks. Pop an inner corner, do a shade all over the lids. I just think it's really stunning. I don't necessarily think you need every light work that comes out. We'll see if I stay true to that next year. We'll see what comes out, but I do think though that if you don't do a lot of color, I mean, this has everything you would need in it, to be honest. Like, this has everything you could want to do. It's literally like magical, and I know if you're into like indie single shadows, this might be like, yeah, I get it. Those are pretty, but to have a palette like this available at Sephora, I just think that's amazing for other people to be able to get their hands on such high quality duochromes, multi-chromes, all of that. It's just stunning, and for the price, I know it's expensive. Like, it's a $125 palette, so it is pricey, but if you know the price of multi-chromes, duochromes, all of that in the indie market for single shadows, you're easily paying like $15 to $25 a shadow depending on the multi-chrome or the finish and all of that. So in that way, there are so many colors in here, and I do think it's a great value. So I love this. I definitely think if this is still available, maybe something to pick up if you were already looking at it or you want something like this. I'm definitely keeping my eye open next year to see if it's different enough now that it's on my radar, because I'm telling you, this is the 5th version of this palette, and only this year did I go, wait a minute, and I was into color and I still wasn't picking up the other ones. I don't know why, guys. I really don't, but I'm glad I'm finally getting it. Like, I'm glad I'm finally here. All right, let's talk about another oldie but a goodie. I couldn't do this video without mentioning the Persona Identity palette. I just love this thing, and it is an easy no-brainer palette. It's pretty basic. The shimmers that are in here are pretty much satins. They're like a low-grade metallic is what I would say, except for the pearly white. That one always catches so much light. Like, when I use it on the inner corner, I gotta really do a buffing motion if I don't want like a stark inner corner highlight or brow bone. Goodness, you gotta be careful with it on the brow bone. But basically, this quad is my lid shades, maybe a one shadow look. Love it. I specifically love Seductive. I think it is so freaking pretty. It's always so flattering on my lids. And then there's such a beautiful selection of mattes in here. I love these tones. You can do something warm and kind of orangey. There's a beautiful brown, a cooler brown, this beautiful plum. All of these have like a desaturated nature about them, which I feel like really lends to every day. Depending on the neutral and all of that and the tones that are in it, sometimes on my skin tone, it can really pull a color, even if it looks like it's gonna be more neutral overall. And for the days when I want just a truly neutral look, like neutral as in neutral tones, but also it's not like competing for attention. It's just like maybe contouring my eye a little bit, adding a tiny bit of shine, a little bit of light on the lid. This one's perfect. And then I love that it has a deeper shimmer in here if I want to deepen up but have a little bit of shine on it. And then Fearless works perfect for a winged liner, powder liner look. So it just has everything in it for me. It's pretty much foolproof. It is like an everyday palette. If I weren't testing tons of stuff, this is just like a staple. It's just a staple for me. And I think it's so funny. Like I said, I'm in my neutral era, but I remember when this palette came out, it looked different actually at the time. They've like repackaged it. But when it initially came out, I remember being like, why is everyone raving about this palette? It looks so boring, so desaturated, like what the heck? And then here I am, you know, 2023 being like, I love it. I mean, I loved it in 2022 as well, but you know, It's like, what the heck? Tastes change, you guys. All right, on to number 9. The Jewels and Gem palette from Oden's Eye made it in here. I love this thing. I think this is the perfect combination of like indie neutral, okay? It has all the fun of indie, but it still is more neutral leaning. This one though, as opposed to the Persona palette, definitely has neutrals that have punch to them. So for the mattes that are in here, they look like, oh wow, what a neutral palette, especially compared to other things from the line, other indie palettes that are out there. But when you swatch these next to more desaturated or other neutral shades, you really get to see that, oh no, these have some color to them. This has that kind of rosy tone to it. This has like a purple undertone. This is like a blue gray. This is an olive green. And so when you really get in here, you're like, wait a minute, it's not as neutral as you think, but it's so stunning. This is what I used to do a majority of my look today. And I just love the shimmers that are in here, specifically this one here. It's like a yellow green with a red base. This is like one of my all-time favorite types of shadows, another red based. I don't know if I'd say multi-chrome, but it has a lot of flips to it, a lot of different colors. And I particularly love when a shadow has a warmer base, but then on top of it, there's this cool sparkle. And this one has some blue in it, a little bit of purple, a little bit of green going on, a little silver. It's just stunning. Like, I love this. I love this shadow as well. This one's called Elatedness, and it's just like a white shimmer. It's like a wet look shadow, just stunning. I just think this is beautiful. If you're looking for like celestial rocker girl, that's what I get from this palette. And I really hope to see more fun neutral palettes from indie brands, because as I've been getting into neutrals, it's been hard. All these indie palettes are beautiful, but they're like rainbow. And I love that this one has a little bit more neutrality to it. I feel like it just works better for my everyday. All right, we're on to the 10th palette. And you might be wondering like, Lauren, where's your palette? Of course I'm putting the palette that I was just so lucky to make with Oden's Eye in here. I forgot to mention, I have a code with Oden's Eye. It's affiliated. I also worked with Oden's Eye this year to create my own palette, the Sea Talk palette. This was a part of the Perfect World collection, so I might be a little biased here. Hello. But of course, my palette is making it into my top 10. I'm so grateful for all of your kind words. I'm so glad so many of you love this palette, and here it is. I really feel like this sums up my transition from color into neutrals. It's kind of all in here. I had a sea theme to work with for this palette, and I was really inspired by Sunken Treasure, pearls. I didn't want this just to be a blue palette, but I obviously wanted there to be that little corner. So I kind of broke the palette up. I have a quad of blues over here. There's some really stunning shades. And then I have this kind of middle ground with some pops of color. I love chartreuse. I love it as an inner corner. I love it all over the lids, especially spring and summer. Don't even get me started. I can't wait. I can't wait. We're almost to the shortest day of the year and we will start getting longer days. And I am holding on to that hope. Kelly told me that and I was like, you're right. And I'm holding on to it. I am so excited for us to start moving towards spring. I know it's not even Christmas yet. I know, I'm excited for that too, but man, the dark, cold, short days, they're rough. They're very rough. Anyway, moving on to this side of the palette, we have some neutrals, everyday neutrals in here. There's a little bit of something cool. There's a little bit of something warm. You can use them together, single shadow looks. I just really wanted there to be a lot of variety in here. I wanted the people who love color to be able to do something with this. I wanted the people who love neutrals to do something with this. I wanted anyone who wants to mix it up to be able to do something with this. And I truly love it. And I'm so glad, again, you guys loved it too. Thank you guys so much for your support on this palette. It means so much. We were able to sell out and restock. I believe there's a few left. Like, I genuinely don't think it's a lot. So if you want to pick this up, if you haven't, this will be the last time. When it sells out, it sells out. So yeah, this is number 10. I wanted to keep it toward the end because, you know, obviously I'm biased with this one, but I have to say my collab sisters, Betty Jean and Amanda, Makeup Just for Fun, Batty Bean, they're honorarily on this list too. I'm so glad I got to collab with them with Oden's Eye. I love them so much, and I definitely think you guys should check out their palettes. If you love color, Betty Jean's palette is for you. And then Amanda's palette has that Secret Garden purple green palette going on. So definitely check all of those out. But those are my top 10 palettes for 2023. I can't believe I get to say a palette that I got to work on. Like, that's crazy. I'm gonna cry. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna do it. But I do want to give you guys another thank you. I just appreciate you so much. Thank you for your support. Just watching my videos, that means the world to me. I still can't believe this is my job. Anyway, I'm not crying, you're crying. Let's get into the tutorial, okay? Let's just get into the tutorial. I hope you guys will enjoy it. And yeah, let's do this eye look. All right, guys, let's get started on this look. I'm going to first start by priming. I'm just using a shadow stick. I don't know what look I'm gonna do yet. Obviously, you guys have seen the whole video, so y'all know what I did, but I do not know in this moment what is gonna be the final look. But this shadow stick from Hourglass is in the shade Voyeur. I feel like I'm gonna reach for a couple different things, but I'm thinking a lot of the look will come from this. I'm wearing like a gray shirt, and I feel like these tones just feel like, I don't know, celestial rocker girl. Like that's what, like grungy celestial rocker girl. But I might build out just the tiniest bit of a crease since these are a little bit lighter in mattes. I might do something, I don't know what I'm gonna do. We're just letting the creative juices flow today. I'm gonna go in with Mesh first. That one's just slightly more warm toned and also light. And I'm just taking it on a fluffy blending brush, adding that in my crease. Next, I don't know, I'm kind of feeling this, but I'm kind of feeling this too. I'm gonna start maybe with the shade Heaven, and I'm taking that on what I call a pinch fluffy brush, but this one's R105 from What's Up Beauty. I was either gonna do like a purple or kind of a pink, so I'm just gonna start putting this on the outer corner, and I'm really keeping it pretty contained in the outer corner, and then I'll blend out maybe with that more rusty color. And I'm really just taking the tiniest bit on my brush, just getting it in the front bit of the bristles, laying it down and then gently blending out, and I'm holding my brush pretty far back so I have just like light pressure. I'm just a sucker for this type of a shade. You guys already know. Like, I can't. I cannot escape that. So we'll probably use that, but I'm gonna try to do something else before that. So I'm gonna go into the shade from the Bobbi Brown palette. I'm just gonna flip this brush around on like the clean side, and I'm just gonna put this all over my lid, and I'm just getting like a wash of it. It's just adding, again, some depth. This is like a satiny type of shade, so I'm really using it just as like a base for this look, and I'm also gonna use it as like a bit of the blend for the edges. And I think I'm also gonna make this shade my lower lash line color. We might add more, but that's what we're gonna do for now. Next, I'm gonna go in with this middle sparkly black gray shade. I'm just picking some up on a brush, and I'm tapping off because it is shimmery, but that's gonna also go in our outer corner. And I'm just wanting to build up something kind of grungy and smoky. I'm just gonna add a little bit, and then I'm gonna add the lid shade and then go back over. So I'm just adding like a little bit of groundwork, I guess. I just was feeling something kind of inky. I feel like you could do something too with like the Natasha Denona Xenon palette. There are some really pretty shimmery grays and blacks in there that can give you like that inky kind of look. Now I'm just taking that Rhapsody shade, tapping it on my lid, and again tapping it back over that, and then as I have less on my finger, I kind of tap it up a bit. All right, I'm loving this. I'm gonna go back in with that darker shimmery gray, and again I'm just kind of adding it, and I'm using it to kind of wing out a little, like a little bit, and then I'm just using my finger to tap a little bit more out there. All right, now that I have the look pretty much built out, I'm just gonna blend the edges until I get something I like. Okay, I'm taking more of that inky black. I'm gonna add it to the lower lash line because I just want it to meet up at least, and I'm keeping it just on the outer half. For the inner corner, I'm gonna use this sparkly kind of white shade. I'm putting it on a fluffy brush so I just get a nice little wisp of it, and naturally I'm putting a little bit on the brow bone as well. I'm gonna add some mascara and we'll see where we're at. All right, I cleaned up my under eyes a little bit because there definitely was some fallout from that sparkly black. That thing got me. I'm gonna go into this palette. Why not use another one? I'm gonna use this darkest shade and do a little wing. All right, I think that's the look. It could go a little bit darker. I feel like this, you know, is just kind of smoky light, but you could definitely smoke it out even more if that's what you're into. I just want to keep it chill. Like, this is pretty dark for me overall for what I normally do, but I want to do something a little bit more fun, a little more festive. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'd love to know what your favorite palettes are for the year down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.